Howdy folks, Spencer here, and today I'll be breaking down the 15th anniversary event in Star Trek Online, and I'll be going over the stats of the Garrett Command Alliance Dreadnought Cruiser, a free Tier 6 ship that you can earn from participating in the 15th anniversary event. As always, chapters to each topic are listed down below. Starting with the basics, this event starts on PC on February 11th of 2025 and runs up through March 14th. And if you're over on console, it is going to be starting up on March 11th and will be running up through April 10th. In order to obtain the Garrett, you will either need 20 days of participation in the 15th anniversary event, or you can buy it out with Zen. Historically, these anniversary buyouts have a base cost of 6,000 Zen or $60, which is then reduced by $3 per day of participation you have in the event. Now, while I am throwing monetary values out there, please keep in mind that this is something that you can earn entirely for free by participating in this event. And the ways that you can earn progress in this event is the three options you see up on screen. First is by playing the new story episode. That's going to get you your daily progress there. Second is going to be the Royal Flush TFO. Realistically, this is what most of you are going to do, given that we need to do this for 20 days to get the ship. So doing that Royal Flush TFO once a day for 20 days, that's going to get you this free Tier 6 ship. And your third option would be the Omega Molecule Stabilization game, which, if I'm remembering correctly, would need to be done twice a day to get the full daily progression. And if you do go the Omega route, you'll also get some extra rewards from Q, like the new 15th anniversary Party Popper device, which unfortunately has no picture in this blog. And heading over to the event grand prize, this is the Tier 6 Garrett Command Alliance Dreadnought Cruiser. Now, the website's currently having some issues and no pictures are loading, but thankfully Thomas has posted the pictures over on Blue Sky. And you can see that this is a really interesting mix of Federation and Klingon designs. So you've got elements here that are from an Enterprise C or D mixed with some of the Klingon ships like the Vorcha. So really interesting blend of designs here. I really like the color scheme, and that deflector looks really, really cool. And there is some more pictures here. So if you want to take a closer look at these pictures, I'll include a link to Thomas's Blue Sky post down below. But again, this is a really, really interesting design here, and I'd be curious to hear what you guys think of it in the comments section down below. And with regards to customization, these Alliance ships are typically their own thing. They're a blend of designs from the different factions, and they're not going to be kit bashable with the ships that they're drawing inspiration from. And heading over to the stats, this has a hull modifier of 1.45, which is right around average for the Dreadnought cruisers. The shield mod is 1.25, which is on the upper end of the Dreadnought cruisers, so pretty good shields there. It has a 5-3 weapon setup, and given this is a Dreadnought cruiser, it does have the ability to use dual cannons or dual heavy cannons in those forward slots. For the console setup, it is 4 TAC, 5 Ing, and 2 Science. The blog lists 3 Science, but that was a typo. Bordicus already confirmed it's meant to just be 2 Science. For the mobility stats, you've got a base turn rate of 7, impulse mod of 0.15, inertia of 40. When it comes to mobility, the Dreadnought cruisers are not really meant to be the most maneuverable ships out there, but these mobility stats are still good enough that you can go in and use dual heavy cannons on the ship if you wanted to. For the power buff, it is +5 to shields and auxiliary, and then +10 to engines. It does have a hangar bay, and by default it has the Alliance fighter squadrons on it. You can of course swap that out for Type 7s or whatever pets you want. These Alliance fighter squadrons are not new. We've seen them before on the other Alliance ships that have a hangar bay, such as the Jurok. And this does have access to the inspiration abilities, given it is a command ship. And for the cruiser commands, you've got attract fire and weapon system efficiency. And for the mastery package, this is Dreadnought Cruiser, so plus hull regen, plus damage resistance for energy and radiation, plus crit chance, and plus max hull capacity. And for the bridge officer setup, this has a commander engineer with command, a lieutenant commander universal with temporal operative, a lieutenant commander tac, an ensign universal, and a lieutenant science. This is an amazing bridge officer combination to see on a free event ship. Historically, that command temporal combo has been one of the more expensive specialization combos to obtain, historically locked behind ships that are very expensive to acquire. This is a combo that is going to work well for many playstyles, and with the layout that this ship has, this is going to be an excellent platform for energy weapons, kinetics, or tanking. Now, heading over to the ship comparison, I want to narrow this down and just look at how the Garrett stacks up against the Sagan Command Cruiser, a promotional ship that we got back in August of 2022. So the Sagan was just a standard cruiser, whereas the Garrett is a full-on Dreadnought cruiser. The Garrett comes in with a higher hull modifier, but the exact same shield mod. The Sagan has slightly better mobility stats, but in reality, that's a very, very minor difference. The power bonuses are very similar. The Garrett gets plus 10 to engines, whereas the Sagan just had plus 5 to every subsystem. For the bridge officer setup, they are a 1-for-1 direct match. They are the exact same. So if you're looking for any builds for the Garrett, you could look for builds for the Sagan and just directly copy them over to the ship. Now, the big difference here, of course, is that the Garrett is a 5-3 setup, whereas the Sagan was 4-4, and the Garrett has the ability to run dual cannons or dual heavy cannons. And the Garrett does have a hangar bay. Now, the console layout's also a little bit different, but I think that's also going in the direction for the Garrett. The extra engineering slot is going to be more desirable for the ISOMAG meta. And really, just looking at these two ships, the Sagan was a really good tanking platform when it came out. It just didn't stick around long term as a popular tanking platform because having hangar bays was really, really desired and still is to this day. But when you're looking at these two, the Garrett is basically just an improved Sagan with a setup that is going to be more utilized by the player base. A 5-3 setup is always going to be more popular than 4-4. Having a hangar bay is going to significantly increase the value of the ship for people. Having a higher hull modifier is also beneficial. So, really, this is a free event ship that is basically an improvement over a promo ship that we got just a couple years ago. And the Sagan, that was a good ship. So this being a free ship is really crazy. This is an incredible platform and one you definitely don't want to miss out on picking up. For the Admiralty stats, this is 57 for engineering, 29 science, 40 tac, and the special is 1.25 times critical rating from all stats. And heading over to the accessories, the first is the Universal Console Coordinated Engagement Solution. Just as the Alliance is made greater by every one of its members, this ship is made greater by our collaboration. It is a testament to our promise, together we stand. When activated, this console will give yourself and up to 10 allies, allied pets, or pets that you own in a 5-kilometer radius a 10% increase to all damage from weapons and plus 10 to all resistances. This benefit increases by 10% damage, max of 50% total, and plus 10 res, max of 50 total, per ally within the 5-kilometer radius. This console also provides a passive bonus to Pet's weapon firing cycle. So with that passive, this is pretty much a must slot most likely on any carrier builds. And with the clicky here, this is going to be an amazing console for support builds. With it not saying bonus there, it looks like it is just Cat 1. But still, if you can give people up to 50% Cat 1 damage, that's still going to be beneficial. And that is certainly going to help your pets out, both with the damage buff and with the resistance. And what I'm really curious about here is how this is going to stack if you have multiple people using this console. Is it going to cap out at 50%, regardless of how many consoles are being used? Or is it going to be 50% per console that you're being affected by? Because if it is the latter, then you could have a team of 4 supports go in and hit this on you prior to launching their own pets and, get up to a 200% damage buff from doing that. So be very curious to see how that interacts, and that is one of the first things I'll be testing on a stream this upcoming Tuesday when the ship goes live. And the Starship trait is Together We Stand. Once every 60 seconds, when you activate either a Captain ability or Specialization Bridge Officer ability, you and up to 10 allies within 5 kilometers get plus 5% max hull capacity and plus 5% max shield capacity, plus an extra 5% max hull capacity and 5% max shield capacity per ally within range for 30 seconds. So this is going to provide up to a max of 35% for both hull and shield capacity. And again, that is going to scale based on how many allies are within 5 kilometers of you when you activate it. So I don't think that this is a Starship trait that everyone's going to run out to slot, but I think at a budget level, this is a very solid option. And to wrap things up, I think that the Garrett Command Alliance Dreadnought Cruiser is an incredible platform. especially for one that you can earn for free from participating in an event. It is really quite good. This is, like I said, basically an upgraded version of the sagging command cruiser, a promotional ship from just a few years ago. It's got a better weapons configuration than the sagging had with 5.3 and the ability to run dual cannons. It's got a hangar bay, so you can utilize Type 7s if you want, or whatever other pets you like to run. It's got the cruiser commands that matter. It's got a really solid bridge officer setup. And uncon-wise, this has the ability to run 6 uncons here. So you can do 3 on the Lieutenant Commander Universal, so 2 of them would probably be Temporal. You'd have Heisenberg and then Chronometric, and then in the Lieutenant Commander slot, you'd probably do a Gravwell 1. In the Ensign Universal, you could run that as a Psi, put Tractor Beam there. And on the Lieutenant side, you just do jam and scramble sensors, and then between those 3 seats, you've got a total of 6 unconventional systems triggers. The only issue with the Bridge Officer setup is you can't run a Gravwell 1 and a Lieutenant Commander temporal ability at the same time. You are going to have to pick one or the other, so that is like the only downside this layout has. But aside from that, this is an extremely capable platform, especially for those of you that like to do tank builds, torpedoes, or just general energy weapons. This is going to work very well for you. And some of you may even have success trying to do like a Do-Psi setup on it. You don't have the science console slots, but if you're going that Do-Psi route, most of what you'd be slotting is universal anyways. So it's a really great ship. And again, for something that you can obtain for free by participating in an event, this is really quite incredible when you consider what event ships looked like just a couple years ago, where they were designed to be weaker than the C-Store offerings. And here we are after just a couple years, and they're giving us event ships that are improvements on promo ships, which are the most expensive ships to acquire in the entire game, you know, just a couple years after the release of those promos. So really impressive ship here. The team has done an excellent job, and the visuals on it are also really quite good. So props to the team. You guys did a good job here. And that's going to be it for today. Let me know what you guys think of this ship down below. I think the visuals of it, again, are really quite good. The Alliance ships have generally been a nice blend of the different faction designs, and I think this continues that trend. And stats-wise, you know, again, like I said, this is really impressive for being a ship that can be freely obtained through an event. So again, let me know what you guys think of it down below. And as always, thank you to all channel members and viewers for the continued support. See you guys around.